Good evening, guys, and welcome to Are You Brave Enough? I'm Amy, and I'm your host for tonight, and these are our lovely guests, Craig Bradford and Diane Caroline Drake.
Hello, everyone.
Tonight, we're going to get to know this lovely couple a little bit better. But before that, I'd like to let you know that our very own Trudy is doing some readings on Trudy Psychic Tarot Kent, and that's on her page after the show. So shall we begin?
Yeah, right. Let's go for it.
Right, guys, where's your crew location? Tell us a bit about yourselves.
I don't even know this. We are GHT, Berkshire Crew. I pulled Craig out. We are situated not far from London, about 60 miles from London. We cover areas like Newbury, Reading, Swindon. So certain areas of Wiltshire, Berkshire, Oxford, Hampshire, and obviously our beloved London and Surrey. And obviously we do go down to do pro investigation as the pro team down to Kent and those areas.
Do a fair bit in Kent as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I've also got to say that Andy and Gary were due to go out tonight, but the weather conditions didn't let them, so they're not going out tonight. So, and also, if everybody could love the show, it takes our viewings a bit further up as well. So, anyway, next question. Right, how long have you been with Ghost Hunter Tours?
Right, I'll start with that. I've been there since day one. Blimey, that must have been, I'm just trying to think now, I can't remember how long ago it was we started now. It must be a good 4 years ago.
Plus.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5. I would say, yeah, probably about 5 years, probably just over the 5-year mark. So, yeah, one of the first crew, me and Trudy, was the original crew members. Seen a lot of people come and go during that time. So... And Di's been with us
3 years.
3 years, yeah.
3 years, yeah.
And Trudy says, I think a little bit longer, maybe 7.
You're probably right, Trudy.
Probably is Trudy.
Old age is catching up with him.
It's a man's 5 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
right. Yeah. I went to sleep, but it's like I can't remember what I'd done yesterday.
Oh, brilliant! So, what got you into the paranormal?
Well, I've always been sort of like that way inclined. I suppose probably going back, I'd say probably about 2013, sort of like around about that sort of time. I did a mediumship course with a woman over in Swindon. Just developed my skills from there. And the woman that we did the mediumship course with, we actually set up our own ghost hunting group. Which obviously then led us to she met up with Andrew and Gary, and then we went over to Ghost Hunter Tours from there, really. So but yeah, so it's been sort of quite a journey, really.
Brilliant. We've just had a post up saying being on an investigation with you guys at Fort Armour was an amazing night. Can't wait for lockdown.
Oh, bless you,
Brilliant.
Jenna. Yeah, I can honestly say Fort Amherst is probably one of the most it always changes every time you go there. Something different comes up. We get different experiences. So yeah, Fort Amherst is one of my favourites. Not because it doesn't matter how many times you do an arena. It's what comes out of the event on the night is so different from any other time. No matter how many times you do the location, should I say? Yeah. But yeah, no, Jenna, thank you, darling.
Well, last time we did Fort Amherst, we were lucky enough to spend virtually nearly the whole evening in the unrestricted area, and that was off the scales. So we were quite lucky with that one. So that was one of our pro nights as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, pro nights are slightly different than a normal investigation. It's a case of people that have been on investigations with GHT or any other group, you know, we are honoured to have the respectability that we've achieved as a whole group within the company of GHT. It's a case of on a pro night, You're able to let loose. There is no holds bar. You have your own equipment. We have equipment. And you get a sense of achieving something. We do a lot of Passovers, which a lot of people may not understand what Passover is. It's literally a trapped spirit in this life realm that needs to go across to the light and be at peace. So that is always a great event because you all feel your input as validated. The reason why that person is still in situ, the spirit is still in situ. I always say a person when it is a spirit is in situ, and we just help them along. So it is great, and pro nights are great, especially with the team which we've worked with along the way. To name but a few: Trudy, Sean.
Yeah, Sean.
Cassie, Cassie. Oh my God!
Cassie.
Oh, we love
she's
Cassie.
the missing link here tonight. Yeah, Cassie. She's one of our girls. Obviously, Amy, you've been with us on a few hunts and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Dee.
Dee.
Yeah.
Kelly. A little Amelia's pregnant now. Bless her. So.
Yeah.
So,
congratulations, Amelia.
Yeah, I love little lady. She's my little shadow. I love working with Amelia, and like I said, we've been doing it for a while, and there's been some great evenings we've had. So
yeah. So what got you into the paranormal then, Di?
Well, I was going to say I'm one of the lucky ones in life, but I don't know. Sometimes when it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you wake up and there's somebody stood in front of you. I'm from the oldest existing Romany background, so I am. I was gifted with reading tea leaves, etc., etc. But we've always been Christians. Before that, the family would have been Catholics. Nobody greater than a Catholic understands the Holy Spirit. I've stood up and done seminars, and I've spoken about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Well, the Holy Spirit is amongst all of us. That's our souls. And from a young child with grandparents that would sit and openly talk about somebody who's passed. Now, my oldest memory that I can recollect was about 5 years old, and I fell over and cut my leg quite badly. Now, my great aunt at the time, Kathleen, she sang, and she placed her hand just above my knee, and she sang to my knee, and I kept thinking, why is she singing to my knee? And then I realised that, hiya, Ricky. Yeah, sorry, guys. Hiya, Ricky. Yeah, we'll get on to you at the moment. Then I realised she was actually a medium clairvoyant and a healer. And when everybody else would say, oh, she's a bit nutty, she's away with the fairies, she actually wasn't. She was a medium. And I was honoured to, and even now, when people ask me, what made you develop, sit circles, and fine tune what you have, and I will always put it down to my great auntie Kath, and the way she was always at one with nature and children, and that's my special bit. I've always got an empathy for children that have passed, and for parents. Grief is an awful thing. You carry it for the rest of your life. If you've lost a child, that little void never ever gets filled. No, however, having what me and so many others have, it gives us great comfort. Yeah. And if you can give comfort even in these times, then that's why. So I'm 49, so I've been doing it properly, platforms and stuff, since the last 20 years. So even before my youngest, and she'll be 17 this year, I was sitting in development circles back 17 years ago to help progress. And yeah, no, I'm a firm believer. Crystals, everything, angel cards, that and spirits, and I love fairies, Amy. When they say,
the fae.
And I've got a 3-year-old little granddaughter, and I say to her, come on, we're going to speak to the fairies down the bottom of Nanny's garden. So anything like that. Anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Do you have a team outside of Ghost Hunter Tours? And if you do, what are they called?
I don't. I'm a platform medium outside of GHC. Yeah. That's what I was before. Yeah. Then obviously, there's a long story when Craig and I knew each other when I was 15, he was 17, and our lives never crossed. And obviously, when we did, circumstances permitted, we got together, and I was saying, well, look, you're not going to understand this, but I speak to dead people. And he started laughing. He said, well, I like to G up and upset dead people.
I stir them up and put some back. That's why it works.
So we're yin
absolutely.
and yang. Yeah.
So, Craig, do you have a team outside of Ghost Hunter Tours?
No, as I was saying earlier in that, like, I used to be part of a group called Into the Light. So that's where all of my tech side came in. And it was sort of like, because originally I was doing the mediumship side. I've always been that way inclined all my life. And it was just when I did that course that the mediumship side came in. And then when we formed Into the Light, that's when obviously we were doing all of like the tech stuff. But then obviously, as I say, sort of like, then I met up with Ghost Hunter Tours, and it's been them ever since. That's where my loyalty lies, really. So it's
right. Ant's just put, hi guys, what has been the one event with Ghost Hunter Tours that you will always remember?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I knew this question was coming up, and I could give a whole series of like places, but honestly, I think RAF Rawton in Swindon. The staff there, they always said that there was a compressor. Cassie will back me up this night as well, and I've got probably quite a good sort of like standing when it comes to like dark and like fear and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff doesn't faze me. And but I was talking to one of the staff members, and she was always saying about this compressor. It's never been charged up, it's never been run or never been plugged in or anything, but it just goes off. We were up at Rawton, and we were doing a circle and had a thermal camera. And this big black shadow came up right in the centre of the circle, and I was stood on the outside of it. Now, I must have been about 3 or 4 foot from this compressor, and it went off. It just discharged, and we've never heard it in all the time that we've been there. And, you know, to jump, there was like, they have all of like the motocross bikes and stuff like that. I was nearly standing on the saddle of the motocross bike. So I was nearly out of the door.
Brilliant.
But,
mine is the notorious Brighton police sales. Like I've sort of said in the past, you know, Craig winds the spirit up, and I become intuitive to be at one with them. I deliver messages when possible, but if anybody that's watching was at the Brighton police sales on this particular evening, will verify. I was working alongside Jasmine. And we were
Ricky, and that was there, wasn't it?
Oh, Ricky was there. Yeah, Ricky, give us a thumbs up, Ricky, if you remember this. We were actually down in the holding cells, and we had the Ouija board, and we were table tipping, and then we had a really a really nasty spirit that wanted to make connection to a brother and a sister, and obviously Mum was there, and the messages that he was giving were really, really dark. And I said, look, have I got so and so here? Have I got so and so? And they were like, yeah, that's me. I said, well, I've got a message for you, and I gave it to them, and they were like, oh my God. And then Mum was sat to one side, and I said to her, look, I've got to give you this message, and I gave it to her, and she was like, my kids never knew that. Thank you, you've helped me a lot. And I said, it's not me. I said, he just wants to bully you in life as he did, you know, in death as he did in life. And then all of a sudden, via the table, we had Ronnie Cray come in, and he was like, bitch. And I'm like, okay. Right, long story, standing story is my grandmother was a Richardson, and obviously the Crays and the Richardsons. Anyway, and all of a sudden this entity came from one of the cells and literally grabbed me by the throat and forced me. I'm a big girl. Forced me straight back against the filing cabinets and was throttling me. And I was sort of saying to Jazz, move everybody away. Let's move away from this area. Through the glass, like, you will not overpower me. You will not get the better of me. And all of a sudden, I had, that's enough. Leave our girl alone. And it was Reggie Cray. Reggie Cray stood in, and then I had the two brothers arguing. I had Ronnie saying, "Why are you helping her? She's one of them. We don't have nothing to do with one of them." And Reggie's going, "She's a good girl. Now, whoever you are, leave her alone." And all of a sudden, something just shot as quickly as it came at me. It went. I managed to get upstairs into what we call our meeting hub, and I have never been so violently sick in my life. And
Wow.
it was that's the first time that I'd actually been totally overcome. And even though my guides and that were all there, that's when I actually was reintroduced and knew that Reggie was he was a guide, he was a spirit guide sent that was more powerful to overcome that situation. So the Brighton Police Cells is not the joyful one that I'd like to recommend. I would go to again, but for outcome, phenomenal experience.
Not been there since.
No, we haven't. No, but Cassie was there that night.
Yeah.
In Jazz.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
So, guys, what is your favourite location?
That's an easy one. Slough Fort, hands down. I've never been to an area. That was our first night for pro nights down there. I think Cassie was due to come down with us, wasn't she? When we did Slough Fort.
Sean rocked up.
Yeah, so it was just me and Di going down there to do the pro night, and then I turned around and Sean just appeared through the door, and I thought he'd bought a ticket, bless him. And he was like, "Oh no, he just had some free time," so I rocked up. But that
Isn't it
place
great when that happens?
Yeah, and you couldn't have got three people bouncing off of each other for the evening, and it went so quick. But it was just, we went from room to room to room. When we're doing the pro nights, we don't have anything set in stone, so it's just go with what it is. If it's active in an area, we'll stay there, and then when somebody wants to move on, we'll move on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we call that
Sean
winging it with
up.
style.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. But everybody seems to love it, so it's like,
yeah,
winging
absolutely.
it
Story of my life, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slough Fort does, Slough Fort has been very much a home because we know it's never going to be, one night's never going to be the same, and it changes so many times in different aspects in different rooms, and it's phenomenal. It really is a phenomenal site. But I have I would say Slough Fort is my favourite, but St Augustine's,
that's a great place.
That is a phenomenal building, and we had so much amazing evidence that was taken by a young lady came on the hunt and all the rest of it. I was up in the dormitories, and one of the members took on a Polaroid, and you actually see I'd sat a gentleman in front of the doorway. There'd been a lot of activity. In the first two pictures, his body slowly, and then by the third, he's disappeared. He's completely gone. And I'm sat at about a metre away from him on the floor with the energies and stuff. And those that know us, we've got Reggie, the bear, and he goes off if spirit is around or children touches him. He's a trigger object. And Reggie was screaming, and all of a sudden, on the last photograph, I've completely disappeared as well. There's no mist, gone. And you can actually see the door behind us, the glass in the door, where we were actually partially sat in front of it. We've disappeared. The whole frame is there. So I knew that there was a cross in a chapel at St Augustine. I don't research places before I get there, and I explained it all as I was walking around with Kelly and Dan, and I was saying this and this, where's this and where's that, and they were like, okay, we'll go there. The headmaster's office, if you could ever do a seance in a building, it would have to be there, because that is just like, whoa.
Yeah, the ghost box was absolutely mad in there when I took my group through there. So yeah, that's definitely a really good room as well. But
so what's your favourite piece of kit that Kevin's just asked?
It's got to be the ghost box. It's actually, I've just ordered a new one tonight, so I'm going to be building the next one. So
is that the one you had for Christmas?
No. The one I've got for Christmas is, the jury's out on it. I've got some kit to put in, which I've ordered up. So, but I've also got that one working as well as an old radio, so we might well bring that one along and use it as a manual scan. So, but yeah, so I've got my gateway box that I've evolved from the other boxes that I've made, and but I've just got another box coming, so I've just got that one on eBay tonight. So that'll be my next box that I'm going to start building. So,
and I think you also there's a couple of ladies that come to a lot of the GHT evenings. Tracy Newsom and Michelle. Tracy had I think that was at Slough, a laser pen.
No, that was no.
I'm corrected. That was Deal Castle.
Deal Castle. Yeah.
She got a little bit of kit and she took it out, and where we do vigils from different areas in smaller groups. Because of the COVID, we're COVID trained. We have to sort of like say, as soon as we're back up and running, we are COVID safety aware, and we have the certificates to say that we are. So Craig's group at the time, Tracy was part of Craig's group, and they were down the tunnels, and they were coming up into the main sort of walkway, and Tracy had stationed her laser pen. Absolutely fantastic evidence of the paranormal.
Yeah.
So something from, I know a lot of them are sort of like illegal, but that laser pen, brilliant. Even your torches, Amy.
Yeah, it's basic stuff. Works.
Basic stuff. Cat balls that light up.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've took my cat balls to a location, put them in different areas. Obviously, Reggie the bear.
Yeah.
He freaks people out sometimes, but he's my little fella. But it's simple things. You don't need big, expensive kit. This is what I'm saying. If people are are starting out, the things is start out with the little things: cat balls, torches, RAF
pen and paper.
Pen and paper. It's the basics.
A compass.
Yeah.
Exactly. Temperature gauge. Simple things can all make up your kit.
Yeah.
So you don't need to worry about the high tech stuff. But it is great. It is great to run one alongside another, Ovilus and things like that. Run them alongside each other and see what you pick up, because a lot of the time that's what builds a story. So
Alex has just put, have you seen any evidence in Pluckley? I'm here but never seen anything.
Oh, bless you.
Black Horse was the Black Horse. We I ran a group in the Black Horse at Pluckley. My group normally runs the tech stuff, and we were running the ghost box at the time. I think it was one of the people that were actually in the that owned the pub had come round in my group. And we had something about somebody getting killed in the kitchens, and we had it all verified at the end of the evening. But with Pluckley as well, I'm sure it was one of Andrew's groups or something. Had what looked like, if you look on the Ghost Hunter Tours evidence page, there's actually a black shadow that looks like a monk that somebody actually caught on camera down there. But we've had quite a bit down there, haven't we? I've not done Pluckley too much. Done down in the woods is creepy at night. Is it Crying Woods or something down there?
Yeah, it's same as the old church. The bombed out church. We did a live before we actually went and did the evening of the investigation in there, and the names that were being thrown out, we actually were joined by fellow GHT crew members. So we were with Sue, Sally and Jackie. Them girls we do a lot of the Surrey, London areas with, and we had some really great evidence, and then it all tied in the evening. So the Black Horse, going back to the Black Horse, just really, really quickly. So whoever it was that asked the question, I have never, ever been to Pluckley before. I never even heard of Pluckley, strange as it was. And before I even walked into the doors, I said X, Y, and Z, like the horse brasses have been moved. There's in the attic, there was a family that was hid during the Civil War. There was trials because he was Lord of the Manor and he had 3 sons, Edward, Thomas. And I gave all the evidence that I could pull from that building. And they had new landlord and landlady at the time. And the landlord was a total skeptic. He didn't agree with any of it. And after during the course of the end of the evening, I sat down and I said to him, you went to Ascot and you rang her and you said, you've had a bad day at the races. You told her to pick a horse, number 8 in the 8th race. And he went, yeah. I said, you put your last 40 quid on that, didn't you? And you came home with 600 quid. And he went, how do you know? I said, there's your evidence and everything that I got. He's no longer a skeptic. That's what we enjoy doing. So,
Christopher Alburn, what was the most peculiar experience you've ever had on a hunt?
I got lost. We done the hydrobaths at Swindon, and I got on about the 3rd visit there. I actually got lost. I didn't know
I got lost in there as well.
You did with Gary, our boss.
Yeah, with Gary. Yeah, we got lost.
Yeah, I'd like to get lost with Gary too, but it hasn't happened. No, I don't mean it like that. Yeah, Swindon hydrobaths, Amy. There's just like 3 levels, but how you can get lost. And like I said, we'd already done it 3 or 4 times, and I got lost. I didn't know
where I wanted to go was in the room right in front of me. I went through a different door.
It was weird, really, really weird. And every time that place becomes eerier and eerier, and everybody's like, "Are you not bored of doing it?" And I'm like, "No," because Kathy, who is the manager there, is a complete and utter delight. And what she doesn't know isn't worth knowing. No, and absolutely. We've managed to tell her stuff, and she's like, how do you know that? And it's like, well, there's the proof. And we get that at a lot of places we go. But yeah, the hydrobath Swindon, weird to get lost. Yeah,
I think it's pretty much same as like Upner Castle. We did that quite a long time ago. I've asked Andy if we can go back there because we can get a few staff members and that on that one. Absolute fantastic location, just down the other side from Medway in Kent. But that has got to be probably one of the most worst places for being turned around. Every time you come out into a corridor or you find a set of stairs, every stairs look the same, and you always end up going away from the entrance. So you spend more time in the evening walking around trying to find your way back out. But again, sort of like similar sort of instances.
I'm so glad that somebody has asked this question, because whatever you put, right, whatever you say is going on my confession show.
All right, okay.
Oh, Lisa. Lisa, can I just say that my poor daughters, I've got 2 daughters, Holly and Georgia, and on this particular night, one of the bosses, Gary, was with us at Swindon, the hydrobaths. Now, they know they have spirit around them. They know that, oh, Mum's upstairs. Who's she talking to? Oh, she's way with the fairies again. And I'll come down with a great big list. And they said, who have you given a reading to now? And it'd be like, yeah, okay, I admit it. Now, we were I think you may have been there that night, Amy. We were at the hydrobaths in Swindon. Okay. And there's an area that's called the sauna bath. Now, Holly, bless her heart, she doesn't squeal very often, but this particular night, she came back to us in the group hub where we have a cup of tea and that during each vigil. And she was white as a ghost. And she said, Mum. I said, what? She said, Mum, quick, I've got something to tell you. And I said, whatever's wrong? I got touched up. And I said, what do you mean you got touched up? Something touched the inner side of my thigh. I said to her, really? I said, it was 2 years ago you had a child, my darling. I said, did you enjoy it? No, Mum. She said, I'd rather know who, if it was a man or what his intentions was with me. And they touched her bum and they touched her boobie. So that is hysterical. When somebody else gets these sensations or that does it, then I lose myself. I'm in hysterics. So I said, oh, wow, they probably thought you needed it, darling. So, but yeah, that was one of the funniest things. No, it hasn't happened to me. But yeah, Holly.
No, nothing like that ever happens to me either.
No, but yeah, being touched up by a ghost.
Right, let's see. See if I'll give you one of my questions. Okay, which location is on your bucket list?
You know what mine is.
Go on, and you say yours first, then, because I've got a few. But
well, I love and adore anything to do with music and theatres, and a couple of years ago, I said to the boss, Andrew Ayres, I said, boss, if we ever get to do America, I want Gracelands. And Trudy's with me on this one. And if we can't have Gracelands, ourselves the Grand Old Opry. So that would be mine.
Yeah, mine. I'd actually quite like to do Dracula's Castle. I mean, Andy was talking about it a while ago, but yeah, I saw the Ghost Adventurers done it, and some of the stuff that they got there, and it's sort of like, I think that's definitely got to be a tick off your list. So yeah, definitely, I think would be Dracula's Castle.
I've been expecting you, Van Helsing.
I can't stir the dead up in there. I ain't gonna do it anywhere. So
absolutely. Right, what scares you, and what have you truly been scared on an investigation, apart from being strangled by in Brighton South?
Yeah. I don't know if many of your viewers have watched Winchester. It's a notorious. It stars Dame Helen Mirren, isn't it? Helen Mirren. Yeah. And it's the story of Sarah Winchester of the Winchester Rifle Company. Again, Ghost Adventurers and that have all done the building that she built to contain the spirits of people that were lost due to the use of the rifle, the Winchester. I think the one thing that would stick in my mind is, as a clairvoyant, you do see an awful lot of things like how people pass and how you have to be as real as possible to give the message across. But I was actually stood on platform one day, and somebody had took their life by a shotgun, and from talking to them and saying it couldn't have been that bad, obviously you regret what you did and all the rest of it. And he went, yeah, look, and as he turned, it's like something you see from a horror film. Wow. And I was overcome with emotion. So children's passing, traumatic children's passings, that stays with me for quite a bit, and it does scare me. And a lost child's soul is simply the worst. It doesn't scare me, but it really touches a raw nerve, and it's like if you can't help children out in life, how are you supposed to help them out in death? And they don't understand.
And only a parent would understand that.
Yeah, it's the empathy that you carry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's probably the most thing that upsets me is trying to save them, if anything. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I'd go back to probably RAF Rawton. I mean, have you ever done that one, Amy?
No, I haven't done that one yet.
No. It's got to be the most oppressive place. Hang on, we got someone else joining us.
It's the boss.
Gary's swirling.
It's the boss.
I best take him out. I don't know if he wants to be in or not.
Probably RAF Rawton and that. That is probably one of the most intimidating places. You can actually stand in the track, and it's so quiet and that in there, but it's almost like your eyes start to sort of like to play tricks on you when you're in there. It's almost like you can feel like spirits and that lot coming up, or the feeling of everybody stood around you. But I definitely think that one's quite a.
Yeah.
If you was to put one on your bucket list, I would do that one. I'm not sure they're actually. I think Rawton now, they've the people that we normally deal with, they're not actually going to be running it.
They're not redone their lease.
No, because of COVID and that. So we have lost a few venues.
Ricky has put. Have you guys ever seen any poltergeist activity? I have a couple of times.
It's here. Right, I've got. Can I tell them about the picture, Amy?
Yes, of course you can. Have you sent it yet?
No, I am getting around to that.
You know who's got to do it, don't you? And won't have it in her car.
No, it's up on my landing at the moment. But No, I had a picture. I've had it for ages, and it absolutely. One day I come in and it disappeared, and it was like I was looking for it, and it had sort of like gone down behind a drawer unit, but it absolutely annihilated itself. I've had when I've walked past the same picture and that because as soon as I got it back out, I put it into a new frame, and it just wherever it is, it's just not happy, and it's sort of like I've had. When I've been laid in bed at night, like just as you drift off to sleep, it's like something grabs my leg, and I'm like, no. And it's sort of like if I'm in bed on my own, and it's sort of like something's grabbed your leg, and it's almost like you wake up, and it's sort of like, did I just dream that as I was drifting off? And I'd be sat there and that lot, and it'd do it again, and it's sort of like, and then the picture I put in my girls' room. They've then had problems with saying there was a guy sits in front of the window in their bedroom as well. So they're very tuned into it. So I brought it back in my room after I decorated my room and put it on the floor. As you walk past it, it's like something grabs you or holds your foot down to the floor. So I put it on the landing and had exactly the same thing and nearly went down the stairs on that. So, but yeah, that will be going to the Haunted Antiques Museum. So. And we'll get that off in the post. So
absolutely.
As soon as I can send it over to Di's house, and then she'll send it off from there.
Yeah.
I never. It's weird. I don't say that all poltergeist activity is black entity. No. I have seen things that I could quite easily write a book about. Whilst being at Craig's, one night I wasn't sleeping and I was sort of led in the darkness, and all of a sudden, in the far corner by the door, up right in the corner, I see these bright, piercing red eyes, and I thought, oh, there's no monitors, there's no burglar alarms, there's nothing like that could trigger these red dots. And as I sort of was trying to contemplate what it was, it flew across and landed on Craig's chest. Just at that moment, I see it go like this with claw-like hand, and it went into Craig's chest. And me being me, country bumpkins, put your fingers in your... Get your bloody hands off of him! What do you think you're bloody doing? Went to swipe it, and it glared at me.
Wow.
Just at that point, Craig was suffering what we didn't know. It was gallbladder, but he'd been being treated for a heart condition. He sat up and he went, oh, my chest.
It was like somebody just stuck their fingers straight in my chest. So.
And
that's not good.
No.
And I think we associate that with the picture as well.
Yeah, that's very much connected. So he saged the building. But where Craig lives is a leyland. It's where all the 4 points of the county meet. Yeah. And there's an old lady, even now she's sat here looking at me, smiling. She loves me. She loves the children. But then you've got old Margaret sits in her chair. And old Jim, he sits in the girls' front bedroom. He's a miserable so-and-so. A bit like Bradford, but...
we're all well suited.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I... Like everything, you give it a blessing and you mean it no harm. You show it respect. I have watched the Enfield Hauntings, and there is an awful lot of things that I've researched and read and seen. And yes, there is terror out there. Of course, there yin and yang. Whatever's good, there is bad.
Yeah.
And if you were an evil murderer or whatever in life, you ain't going to change in spirit. So, there is that. There is always that. You've got to be aware. And the one thing I've always said to people, even on an evening, I was petrified of Ouija boards with the stigma that always surrounded them.
Yeah, it's been Americanized and that lot.
Yeah, it is really horrific. Even if you read magazines, Fate and Fortune or whatever, it's still, there is a story about a Ouija board and a dark entity. Now, if you look at on the other cusp, GHT, the bosses, Andrew and Gary, supplied angel boards. Now, I bless them, and I bless them with holy water, and I will work with them. And I'd say 80% of the time, it's a family that comes in with a connection to the member of the public that are with us on that night. So in that sense, that's a blessing. Those that don't know how to operate the Ouija board correctly with opening and closing it, learn the art. That's all I will say. Learn the art, because you're inviting darkness into your life and into your homes.
Yeah, with
Absolutely.
the boards. Quickly recap on that, because I think there was wasn't there a comment went through on the crew hub about different people, how they open and close boards.
Yeah.
We all do stuff, and we all use the boards. So if you imagine I set my board up in a certain way, but we all come to the same point at the end of it. So just because Di will run her board differently to me doesn't mean that we're not opening and closing them as we should be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And grounding, anybody that's, we can't see the comments, but anybody that's been on an event with us, grounding is and blessings at the start of the evening, ground you, keep your feet firmly on the ground, go through that process, and then at the end of the night, I always send an angel blessing home with you, so that whatever we've connected with doesn't follow you home. That is one of my main things. Even the bosses will agree that anything that gets attached to anybody, with whatever group, whatever whatever location we're at, if somebody feels that they've been overpowered by something, I will sit with them and I will talk with them and we will remove it, and I will surround them in a bubble wrap. That's what I say. And we all know about the old bubbles at the moment. That's exactly how I envisage it, in pure white light, in love and peace. So
absolutely.
But that's about us protecting the public that come out. So they put their trust in us, and obviously we give them protection. Just because I don't use it, but it's sort of like I leave myself open for the evening. So, and the more that goes on, the better. But yeah, it's all about protecting the public when they're out there.
A lot of people that have come on one of the pro nights, Amy, will always say, how did because they always think that we're married, and it's like, how can you live with him? Well, the good thing is I don't. I have my own house and he has his.
I just live here with the ghosts. They all follow me home.
Right, David J. Clark says, where do you think is the most haunted place in the UK?
Hampton Court for me. Without hands down. Hampton Court, Henry VIII, hands down.
Absolutely.
I don't know. It's sort of like, the problem is with like the haunted locations, you get different people seem to pull different stuff out from different areas. That's a difficult call, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of like, if it was a haunted location that I'd want to go to, then I would probably say one of mine that I would want to investigate is like the Tower of London.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a residence though, isn't it? So we'd never get the chance to do that.
No, but either that or the catacombs.
I used to know the Tower Master about 20 years ago. I knew the Tower Master at the Tower of London, and obviously he's retired and moved on years ago. But yeah, those opportunities, and Reading Prison, we're still hoping on the opportunity of getting in when lockdown is sorted, getting into Reading Prison. So we've got connections to that. So
right, another question: is there a venue that you'd refuse to go back to?
I haven't. There's one that I've been asked if I ever went to Ireland, would I go? And it's an old workhouse in the late 50s and 60s of unmarried mothers. Most people don't know about the Magdalene sisters, or Philomena. It's a true story where unmarried mums had their children taken away and they were adopted out, and these babies were sent to Australia, America, Canada, never to be seen again, because it's religion. Religion controls a lot of us. And I was asked if I would go to one of the old workhouses just outside of Dublin, and I said I would, but then I would be too heartbroken. I would have to go with a really strong-minded team, because I would be like a sponge. I'd suck all that in, and I'd carry it around with me. So I'd love to do it, but not at this moment in time.
Yeah, the only thing that stopped me going to a venue would be probably because I've overdone it. But then, to be honest, I mean, if you take somewhere like Rawton, I've done that 30 odd plus times. It's off the scale every time we go there.
Absolutely. So that's a bit like Gresley Old Hall with us lot as well. That's always good.
Yeah, I think, as I say, sort of like most there are some venues that we do that are a lot harder to work with, but then I think us as a group, I mean, as I say, the GHT crew and that, like, we put our all into it when we go out.
Absolutely.
So I don't think there isn't anywhere that we couldn't go that we could actually find something. So, but there are venues that are hard work. And it's like, absolutely, it takes a lot to get it going. But so yeah, probably not. No, and we're about we're an entertainment company. Ours is about giving public punters. Start again. Put my teeth in. We're about giving the public an experience. So I think whether or not we'd want to actually not do something. Doesn't really come into it really, because we're more public orientated.
But what we like to get across, we are real people like anybody else. You're saying, Amy, you're a paranormal investigator.
Yeah.
What we like to tell everybody at the beginning of the night, it is not staged. What you put in as a collective group is what you get out of it.
Absolutely.
If you don't put anything in, and you don't add to the experience, and then go away and say, worst night in my life, biggest load of rubbish, worst money I've spent, that's because you did not put anything into it. You really aren't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get out
what you put in.
Yeah, exactly. Right, I've got a question here from my very own Pops and my other boss, Neil. What's your thought on haunted objects?
Yeah, I'm totally up for that. I mean, there are objects that hold energy.
Everything carries energy.
Mirrors. I've got a real bad thing with mirrors. It's
that's the only thing that scares me. I hate mirrors in the dark. It's the only thing that scares me. You put me in a room with mirrors and I'm shitting it.
Well, sorry, but is Cassie on? I haven't seen if Cassie's on.
I've not seen Cassie on.
No,
yet.
Because Cassie and I were doing the Old Lamb motel down at Theale, and we did mirror scrying, and we had Cavaliers, Roundheads and Cavaliers.
Wow.
We had the experience. We had soldiers from Aldershot, which isn't too far away, the barracks, and this 6'7", and he must have been at least 18 stone soldier was like, "Oh my, I'm a woman. I've got boobies," and that was mirrors. It's like we were saying with objects, a mirror and a candle. Everybody has got a mirror or a candle. That's part of the kit as well. But I don't like. I'm not scared of the dark. That doesn't scare me. I think the worst thing is.
If you take objects on whether or not people think that they can be haunted, there's no difference. It's like a physical thing, isn't it? So it's no difference to you walking into somebody's house that's got a presence in the house. So they all seem to attach in that way.
You've got psychometry, like we've all said, and any object has a history.
Yeah.
So psychometry is one of the greatest development that you do to become a clairvoyant, a psychic. Some people can do it, some people can't, but it is a unique gift to have. If anything, fire frightens me. Mirrors frighten you, Amy. Fire frightens me, because I know I was burned at the stake. I was a witch in a foretold life. Fire will frighten me.
That sounds like Neil. He hung his own cousin in a previous life. Apparently so. So, Right, hang on. There's another one. Oh, have any of you had an attachment that you had to get rid of after an investigation?
Yes. At St Augustine, at Valence House, the boss was with us on both occasions, and this was a big burly chap that was like, whoa, I don't feel right. What I was down in the cellar, and the boss came up to me and said, Diane, do us a favour. And I said, yeah, no. And I sat with him, and we had proper tears, and I said, it's gone now. He said, I just feel so light. He said, it's like I've just walked through from the rain into the bright sunshine. He said, it's so different. I said, I said, you had an attachment, my love. I personally, the only time that I ever got close was at Brighton Police Sales. But then my guide stepped in. But other than that, no, it's all in love and light with me.
Not with me. Who was it that came in here?
Oh, when first Craig and I first
from the true crime.
Oh, I was talking to Craig on the telephone a couple of months ago, and he was talking away, and we were like this. We were on FaceTime, and I stopped, and he said, "What's the matter?" I said, "You've got Amelia Dyer behind you," and he was like, "I thought I did." I said, "What have you done?" Straight away, what have you done? Why is she invited to your home? Why is she attached to you, Craig? And he's like, I don't know. I said, well, something's coming. Something's coming. Because in the True Crime Museums...
that's down in Hastings.
Down in Hastings, there is her an item of clothing that she wore when she was actually imprisoned at Parkhurst prison, I think it is. Yeah. Not sure. And she notoriously... supposedly were back in the day took children for adoption, and she was the mass child killer from London, and she actually resided in Reading,
which is not far from here, is it? Was that about 10 miles, isn't it?
And it's literally I've come across her many a time. She doesn't like me because of the empathy for children, and Jackie, Sally and Sue we've all witnessed things with her. The clothes or dress is locked away in a cabinet, and we had so much stuff going on. She really didn't like us.
Wow.
But Amelia Dyer, no.
So we need to go back to true crime again.
Absolutely. Right, I've got a question. What is the most underrated place you've investigated?
He'll say Shaw House at Newbury because it was to do with the Cavaliers and the Roundheads. There's very much some blank areas. The nursery, Cassie and I were in the nursery. The rocking horse, the children's nanny came through. It wasn't, it's not a dark place to investigate. It's quite homely. During times it's been a school. It's a registry office now for marriages, deaths and births. It's very scenic in the middle of Newbury. But
I think my disappointment with Shaw House was there's so much with like all the Roundheads and everything that went on in there, and it was when we went there, that was one of the venues that was really hard to get going, even with all of like Matech stuff and stuff like that. We were struggling with an hour per area. And my expectation was a lot higher of it there, so I probably would say that Shaw House. Don't get me wrong, it's an absolute fab location. There's been other groups go through there, and you get mixed on what you get out of it. But that was quite a hard evening. Yeah.
Right, we have another question. Can you walk into a room even when you are not on a ghost hunt and see or sense a ghost?
Yeah,
Margaret. Yeah. Last night on the GHT illegal site, we did a live feed with the Ghost Box, and I did my mediumship. And it's what people got to understand. Mediumship is like a light. You choose when to turn it on, and you choose when to turn it off. Now, what should have been a couple of hours, we started at about 8 o'clock, and we finished at 11:15. And it was like we'd only been sat there 10 minutes. And the last time we did a live from Craig's house, 4.5 hours, 4-point-something thousand views we had.
Wow.
But we are GHT, know, and we all trying to keep the enthusiasm up. So in answer to your question, Margaret, yes, I can walk in, sense something, and I'll sit down, get my bearings. I will ground, call my guides in, and sit with me, and then, you know, people. This is people's homes. You don't want to frighten them, but when I've had a lot of people say, "Is my house haunted?" I said, "I won't know until I walk in with you. But what I do know is you've got so and so and so and so." I get names, I get descriptions, I get sensations in my mouth, songs, flowers, and it is a gift. And I thank God every day. And the one thing I want to put out there, no matter who or how many messages I've given you, I have never ever accepted a penny, because it to me is a special gift given to me down the generations for me to share. I know there's a lot of people that do it for money. That's not the meaning. If I can give comfort to somebody, then I will. It's a free gift, and it's a free gift that keeps giving. So
absolutely.
Well, I run my own heating company, so you can imagine the fun that I have going in and out of people's houses. And it's
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, I do. I mean, I when I'm out at work and that lot, I see and hear things and that lot, and you just got to, like, be professional and not say anything, because you never know when you go into somebody's house and that, how they're actually going to take it. And so that will scare them to death.
And I think sorry, Amy. I think one of the saddest things is when you've got an older person who's quite close to end of life, and you know that the waiting room is getting busy and people are there ready to collect, and that really touches me, because, you know, it's like utopia is awaiting us all. So
absolutely. Right, I hate to say this, but we've come into the end of the show. Right,
Oh, no.
and I know. Tell me, hasn't it gone so quick?
I know.
Yeah, it's flown
Absolutely. Right. And don't forget, everybody, Trudy is on afterwards on her Trudy Psychic Tarot to Kent. So please tune into that, and I hope to see you all next week as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So we're gonna call it a night there. And
Bless you.
thank you so much for joining me, and
You're welcome.
I'd love to have you back on again soon.
Okay.
Just
quickly, Margaret, go on GHT. Any questions or anything you want? Anybody wants anything answered?
Yeah.
We're all a group. We can all do it. If you want to speak to me, please go on and leave messages there, and I will answer you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, love, safe, keep safe, and stay safe.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Take care, everybody, and see you next week.
Yeah, bye.
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 Bye.